What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sitting with Shawn, extraordinary episode number 7. Today, I have a really awesome guest, really good friend of mine. His name is Shawn. The two Shawns. What's up, Shawn? How you doing, bud?
Man, I'm good, Shawn. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. I can't complain. So yeah, I've known Shawn for quite a while. Quite a while.
Yeah, man, we're going on almost 10 years, right?
Yeah, yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy.
I think 2023 is gonna be 10 years.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. That's
Yeah.
wild. It's wild.
It is. It is. It's pretty wild. So Shawn, you want to give an introduction of yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Shawn Carlson. I'm a father, a son, a brother, but I'm also a painting contractor. I am a professional wrestler. I own my own professional wrestling company and my own professional wrestling training school as well. And yeah, I'm all around a hustler. That's pretty much all I can say.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I've watched Shawn grow through this venture with professional wrestling and stuff, and it's pretty astounding, to be honest. And we'll get into that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But I'm like we said, I met Shawn back in like 2013, and just so happened I stumbled on him on a Facebook post. We are playing a wrestling card game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we were.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and we and he was like, "Hey man, do you want to be a part of this team that we got going on?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, fuck it, why not?"
Yeah.
And yeah, we started playing there, and we've kept in contact over the years and stuff like that. And here's something you may not remember. I think it was season 3 of the card game. You're like, "Hey man, I want to do something for you," and I was like, "What?" "Hey, you bought me a card pack, dude." I was like, "Oh, that's so fucking sweet."
I do remember that because you were like lagging behind us, and I was like, I gotta get my guy up here. I gotta
Yeah,
get my guy up here.
yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And
yeah. I
then
play
if
like a.
you, I don't know
Go
if you
ahead.
remember this, but remember you went to a wedding at a place I had just painted like the week before. I had just finished it, and you were like one of the first weddings in, and you happened
Yep.
to be there. I was like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. We like barely just missed each other too.
I know, it was wild.
Yeah, my sister got married there. It's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I posted up the pictures, and you're like, "Is that this place?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And you're like, "I thought I just painted that fucking place." I was like,
Yeah.
"No shit."
Insane.
So
Insane small world.
yeah, it really is. It really is. And it's crazy to see, like, be kind in a weird way worlds away, and run into people and meet people from Maryland. It's not very rare that you'd see that.
Yeah, dude, it's such a small world. We just went to Florida, the Keys, in February, me and my wife, and we were just walking through a like I guess you would say like flea market, if you will. And this person comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, aren't you related to this person?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I'm related to this person and they're cousins. So somehow we're related." I was like, "Dude, that's don't ever do that to me ever again. Like, don't come up to me and like that's weird. Like, just say, hey, you know this person, so do I. Like, don't try to make us related, and we're in the same area. Like, just don't do that. That's weird."
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. And the crazier thing is, like, I've met people in the army that are like, "Yeah, I'm from Hagerstown." What? Oh,
Yeah, it's like
does
super
that even
small.
happen? Yeah, it's super small, really crazy. But yeah, man. So getting into it, man. Tell us how you got into painting, dude.
So, I mean, kind of I was born into it, whether that sounds stupid or not. My father was a painter and he worked for a guy and then started his own business. And in the summer times, we couldn't afford a babysitter. So 8 years old, I was in the houses painting with him. So I was just born into it, man. And it's so crazy. Like if I told people the shit I did when I was 8 years old, like, and I told an 8 year old this now, people would be like, that's child abuse. And I'm like, nah, dog. Like I wasn't even the only kid on the job site. Like that's not child abuse. That's just how we were raised, man. Like such a
Yeah,
different world now. We actually talk about this quite often in the work world. How it used to be, man. Like every job site, these big job sites we work on, there'd be like 5 or 6 laborers that were young kids just trying to get into a company somewhere, learn the business. Now there's none, like none. There's like the old dudes who really can't do it anymore, they're the ones sweeping the floors and just trying to make a paycheck. And that's so wild, or have something to do, because most of them just want something to do in life. But that's so wild to me, that the way that the world's changed in construction, and there's still such a booming economy in construction. It just blows my mind that, most of the workforce is these 25 to 35-year-old guys just killing it. And after that, it's kind of, very few and far between for young guys.
Yeah, that's insane. Especially like I always say this when people talk about like their childhood and stuff, and even now, like you hit it on the nail on the head. Like kids that are younger aren't trying to get in these professions. They're not trying to do what we did when we were younger. They're trying to chase these pipe dreams.
Yeah, yeah, they're either trying to do all the music and everything, because hey, I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to chase their dreams, but I was always taught at a young age, you can chase your dreams, do whatever you want, but always be financially secure. So have
Yeah.
your backup plan. And I think a lot of people are just like, screw, especially in this weird economy we live in right now. The people, like, everybody's like, oh, the workforce isn't there. I believe the workforce is there. They're just doing other things, if that makes sense. And that's why you see a lot of these, stores, or not knocking anything, because like, hey, you get your money however, but your OnlyFans and stuff like that, there is an economy out there to serve everything. And these people are like, oh, these people aren't working. Well, they might be working in a different facet now than what they were working in pre-pandemic. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting confused about, oh, there's nobody working. And also during the pandemic, we could learn how to live without people doing things, without this person at the cash register. We learned how to do self checkout more often. So people say, oh, there's not people the way they used to be. Jobs have changed. This world has really changed. I think I say this to a lot of people, construction's boom, right? And even
Hmm.
though we're hitting a recession, because I do believe we are hitting a recession,
Hmm.
when this happened before, and this is how long I've been in the painting business, that I can remember the last recession very clearly, that in the last recession, construction stopped, and then the recession hit, and then the gas prices rose, and then we were doing a lot of work for homeowners. Now, our new construction's still through the roof, because so many people are investing still in their dream houses and stuff, because they don't want to live in their apartments. And the pandemic changed that. And so I've painted for a ton of people that are from outside the area that now are trying to do this. So
Yeah.
I don't mean to go on a rant, but that's how
No.
crazy the world has changed in just like the last 5 years.
No, and the rant is cool. I'm all for it. I'm down for it. But the thing is, another thing that I see is that people are trying these get rich fast schemes, and it's either blowing up in their face or working well for them, but they don't have anything to fall back onto, and that goes to shit.
Yeah, like you see a lot of these kids, and I mean kids, but a lot of these kids, younger people, they're so focused on their OnlyFans, or I hate to bring that up, but that's one of the biggest money makers now
Yeah.
in the U.S., which is bonkers to me still. But and I don't knock it. Like, hey, if you're making money and somebody wants to pay to see you, take that money. But I think a lot of these people don't understand about investing, and then they're spending it just as quick as they can. That's why everybody's saying, the inflation's up, but the inflation's up because spending's up. That's the only reason that would happen. The only reason inflation happens is because spending's up. And I think a lot of these people get money and then they spend it just as quick as they're getting it. And, hey, that's a good thing to keep it in circulation. I'm not going to knock that. But at the same time, people don't have a backup plan. And a lot of people are just living day to day. And that's so weird to me.
Yeah, and that is pretty crazy. It's insane. Just to look back 40, 50 years ago, people were banking money to set up for their future. Now it's just like money's completely in circulation. It's very rare to find somebody that has 10, 15 grand sitting in their bank account, savings just there.
Yeah, and that's why people were saying, "Oh, the housing." So again, I'm going to go on a rant. So everybody was like, "Oh, the housing market's crazy during the pandemic, right?" Well, a lot of it was older people moving. We bought a house during the pandemic, and that's why I can say this for a fact. Like everything I'm going to say, I know for a fact because I lived it. Um,
Hmm.
when we were looking to buy a house, we were outbid every single time by cash offers. Who has cash? Older people. And the older
Yeah.
people had this cash either stockpiled, or they were selling their house and getting a ton of money for it, and just had the cash to buy these houses. So we had to deal with, hey, we're coming in on first time home buyers. They're giving you cash. They're offering 50,000 over, so that's why the housing market was so crazy there for a little while. And that's why everybody's like, oh, it's not a boom anymore. No, it's not a boom anymore because people aren't moving so erratically now. and the cash influx is not there anymore. And a lot of these people sold their second or their third homes, and that's why the cash influx was there. But again, I'm not going to go on a terrible rant, but that's just people don't think about that kind of stuff, and it really bothers me.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that, man. And yeah, like it's a lot of what I'm seeing is a lot of people are more settling now for renting versus buying, and really all you're doing is lining the pockets of the person that owns the building.
So I go with our teachers are what make our world, right?
Mhm.
So the people with the most influence are what make our world, not our politicians, not that. And what people have turned to now is TikTok and YouTube. And you got guys like Gary V and I don't know all their names, but I listen to them. They talk all, I got all the money in the world, I'm the man. But they're saying, like, there's one guy, he always says buying a house is the worst investment because you have to fix it up, rent. Well, if you're renting, right, you have no capital on your money. So I own a house. It could go to shit. I completely understand. I could like I have shit that could go wrong in my house, and I've spent thousands of dollars to fix it. But I get a capital. Like our house has went up 70,000 since I bought it. So if I were to sell it, I have 70,000 extra in the bank from when we sell,
Mm-hmm.
and that's without negotiating nothing. The same person that could have rented their house the same time I did has zero capital. They have made zero money on the money they've put in, and they're probably paying more than what I'm paying for my mortgage. And again, it goes back to people wanting to, and I really hate that. I seen a statistic the other day that, and I know a person just like this, and he lives in my house, but people are so willing to just get by. People are willing to work 36 hours if that means they can get by. They pay their Netflix, they get some food out, and they can pay for all their stuff just to get by. They would rather work 36 hours to just get by. So I try to talk to, anytime I see somebody doing better than me, whether it's life, painting, wrestling, whatever, I try to pick their brain. I'm like, hey, what are you doing that I'm not doing? And so when I was 19, I painted for this guy who was rich as hell. And I don't mean like, he wasn't Warren Buffett, like, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
he's doing better than anybody listening to this podcast, unless like multi millionaires listen to this. And I was like, what got you where you are? And he said, live on 30 hours a week. Take the other 10 hours and invest it. And then work your overtime, and that's the money you can spend on. Because then you're not going to want to go out as much. You're not going to want to go party on Friday night when you're working a 12-hour shift on Friday to get the overtime. You're not going to want to party. You're going to want to go home and shower. And then I know people are going to combat me with saying, oh, well, then you don't get to live your life. I get what you're saying, but there's different means of living your life now and living your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go on vacation at least twice a year because that's what I want to do, right? I
Mm-hmm.
work so I can do that. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people just want to work that 36 hours and not have a vacation. I would rather take my wife to the Florida Keys for a week and then go somewhere else for a week and enjoy that time with my family, going someplace different than just working 36 hours and staying home. And that's just me. And everybody's different. I'm not knocking anybody by far, but that's just the way our world has gone into, and it's really so like wow to me, I guess.
Yeah, that is pretty insane, and that sounds like some sound advice, some real sound advice that you got there.
Yeah, I trust me, I've lived on it, and I'm like, that makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah, and once you change that lifestyle, man, you start noticing some of the things that you were that 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 you weren't working on prior to that, and it shows now. Shows now. You're a super hardworking man, dude.
I will say, like, that is my biggest Achilles heel is I work too hard, and that goes with anything. I work too hard. When I do anything, I put 100% into it, and so it's one of my biggest, I guess, like I said, Achilles heels. I'm so passionate about so much stuff that I work so hard at it, and at the end of the day, sometimes you're like, that sucks. I've worked
Mm.
I've worked 43 hours straight, no sleep, just 43 hours straight.
Whew.
That's insane. Like
Yeah,
it's insane. But I felt like I had to do that at some points to get what I needed or what my family needed. So
yeah,
it's just like some things you got to sacrifice in life.
yeah. You got that old school work mentality that is lacking in this country now.
And like I get that a lot. So what's the saying? Strong men or good times create weak men. Weak men create bad times. Bad times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Or no, strong men create. I don't know. You'd have to look it up, but that's
Yeah.
the quote I'm thinking of right here. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of our world, our parents were such strong people. And I get that, a lot of people have mental problems because of their parents. And hey, I'm not one to shy away from that. Like I have them.
Yeah.
But I felt like our parents were in such a different world than what we are. And we try to get so far away from what they were that maybe we're too far almost.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that wholeheartedly. I feel
Yeah.
like we try to prevent the trauma that we received as kids by straying away from the values that were instilled in us that are actually shining through us today.
Yes.
I can,
Yes. I just made a post today. Well, I made it 2 years ago, but I reshared it today. It's from Father's Day 2 years ago. And so me and my father, we had a terrible relationship the last 5 years of my life. Long story short, he beat my mom. She had a stroke. Well, you probably remember all this,
yeah,
but
yeah.
beat my mom till she had a stroke. Didn't talk to him, and then he passed away like 3 years later. And so didn't have any contact with him. And I, like I said in the post, like, yes, 100%, you were a piece of crap. You were not a good dad. You were a great boss, and you instilled stuff in me that still to this day I use, but you weren't a great dad. And I will try to be the dad you weren't, and also give my kid those same incentives you gave me. And that's all I can thank him for. So
Absolutely.
everybody's got to take a little piece from everything.
I can understand that. So, man, pro wrestling.
Yo, that's crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, pro wrestling. Let's talk about it, man. How did you get into the business?
So I did a podcast.
Hmm.
I did a podcast, and I started talking to this guy who owned a company, and he was going through some financial troubles, and I was like, "Hey, I'll buy in." And this was called Baltimore Championship Wrestling. And then when I say financial troubles, he was having a lot of financial troubles because we only ran 3 shows for a year because he didn't pay his taxes,
Wow.
and the company got shut down. And let's just say in wrestling that shut down on a Monday. My wife asked for a divorce at that time on a Tuesday. And so life was a whirlwind right there. And then went through my thing with the divorce, and then luckily came around that my partner now, Sean Hardy, he hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, I'm looking to make a comeback, but I need a strong partner that's gonna help me." And I was like, "Dog, I got you." And me and Hardy hit up, and we started talking, and we created 1CW back. 1CW was his company prior, and he wanted to bring it back. He was just coming off of back surgery. So we linked up and we refired it up, and I started training to become a pro wrestling manager. And so I literally went from owner to booker to pro wrestling manager. And then during the pandemic, the local wrestling school got shut down. And so I was like, man, we need a local wrestling school. So I hit up the head trainer, Mark Haro, and I was like, "Hey, Mark, I have the school, I have the ring. I mean, I have this ring, I have a company. What can we do to get the school?" And he said, "We need an outbuilding, like somewhere we can train at."
Hmm.
And I said, "Well, lucky for you, I'm buying a house, so I've got the building, bro." And we put it up a year ago this week. We put up the training school, and we've been running a year strong now. And so I consider myself the Benjamin Button of wrestling because I went the exact opposite way of what you're supposed to. And
Hmm.
it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, man. I seen every step of the way, and I'm like, damn, dude, this is impressive and very inspiring. Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah, it really is, man. Like when I first got into it, like so I was a huge fan, like
Hmm.
everybody else in wrestling, right? And so I started going to indie shows in the area, and all I ever heard was wrestlers complain, right? This doesn't do this right, or this doesn't do this right. And so I did the podcast so we can get more eyes and ears in the area, right? That was my whole goal. And then
Hmm.
as I'm talking to these guys every week, it was the same stuff over and over again. The lies, the bullshit, the not pay, the this, that, the third. So I was like, man, I really want to do something. I want to get this back on track. So I talked to BCW owner. We were just having an interview. At the end of it, he was talking to me like, "Hey, you should do this. You know your shit." I did it to create a new professional wrestling world in the
Hmm.
area. not the scumbag. I'm not paying you. This kind of shit. I want to do it right. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that failed, and it made me look like an idiot. I will say, but or I wouldn't say I made me look like an idiot. I felt like an idiot. How about that? And then when Hardy and I linked up, we had the same mindset that we want to create a place that's going to be good for fans. It's going to be good for workers. And it's going to be all around a great place to go. A lot of people don't understand, and I mean this when I say this. A lot of wrestlers, a lot of people don't understand that we're not creating a match, right? We're not creating a cool move. We're not creating this. We're creating something that is going to take these people's minds off of all their problems for the next 2 hours. We are creating a new place that they can come and let their frustrations go. And I think a lot of people lose that when they do wrestling. Like, you're not here for, your own enjoyment or what cool moves you can do or this, that, and the third. You're here so that people can either cheer or boo you and get their mind off of all the crap they got going on in their life.
Yeah. I like the concept, man. I really do. Because
Yeah.
an outsider looking in, when we and you at one point you've been there too. You go to a movie theater to escape reality. You go to professional wrestling show to escape reality and to enjoy something for a little bit, because it's hard to enjoy things in society sometimes.
It is, man. It's so crazy. This world we live in is just so up and down, like I said, man. And everybody wants to shit on everybody else's stuff and like, oh, I hate wrestling's fake. Yeah, everything's fake, bro. Everything's fake. Oh,
Yeah.
sports isn't fake. I don't know, man. I'm not in the huddle. I can't tell you if it's fake or not. Like, you're not in the wrestling ring. Like, how do you know I'm not? I didn't shoot on that guy. You don't. Shut up. And
Yeah.
that's pisses me off so much.
That's the one thing that I hate from people that don't watch wrestling is they say, "Oh, it's fake." Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And my rebuttal to that is just it's. I feel like I'm parroting a lot of what is being said before, but you go to movies and that's fake, right? You're
Yeah.
not watching.
Exactly.
You're not watching this real character that's named Darth Vader
Yeah.
fuck people up, are you? Like, he's not really killing people. That's fake.
Yeah. And
It's scripted. That's all it
yeah.
is.
And everybody wants to just shit on everybody else's happiness, and that's around the world just in general with what we got in life, and that's what's crazy to me. But hey, there's so much hate in this world, and there's so many people, especially on the internet. Like, there's so many people that want to take everybody's joy. It's like, screw that, bro. Like, if you're that miserable that you want to take other people's joy, like, just like go somewhere, bro. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying like, hey, you probably got some problems, so I'm not saying kill yourself, because I hear a lot of people say that. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't want you around me,
Yeah.
because that negative shit, it ain't worth it. It really ain't,
Yeah. That negativity spreads and it's
bro.
nasty.
So bad. But
Yeah.
what can you do? You
So
know what I mean?
yeah. So you took, if I'm not wrong, you took BCW and that whole thing, and now one CW, and you went to Delaware. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I live in Delaware. BCW never really took off. I bought in with Sean Hardy and we became one CW. So yeah, that was what we did. I live in Felton now, so it's pretty cool. I still work in Maryland, so that's pretty cool.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So how is the wrestling scene in Delaware different from Maryland?
It's not at all. Except for so I shouldn't say the scene, but the fans are different, right?
Yeah.
The fans, um, the fans want to see your local guys, right? In Maryland, I feel like they want to see the stars. They want to see these big name people come in, right? In Delaware, they want their local guy. They want their team. They want their homegrown talent. That's what they want, and that's the cool thing I love. Like, Miles Millennium's our top baby face at 1CW, and the reason being is because they've watched him grow up. They watched him go from being a nobody kid to now being a great professional wrestler. That's their fucking guy. I like to say I'm one of the top baby faces, just from the crowd reaction. And I feel the reasons because they've watched me grow up. They've watched me go through everything. Um, and here I am, and I think they think I'm a great role model for kids, and that's why you can get a natural baby face in Delaware, and you can't get a natural baby face some places else,
Hmm.
and you can get natural heels the same way. They see these guys who are assholes and shit, and they can pick up on it. And so the scene isn't terribly different, but the fans are totally different. Um, I was laughing one time. This guy hit me up and he was like, "Oh, I want to come wrestle for you guys." And I'm like, "Oh, definitely. Like, what's your rate?" And he told me, and I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I can't pay that. They don't know you here." And he's like, "Oh, I'm well known on IWTV." And I was like, "Bro, they don't know what IWTV is."
Yeah. Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, and you hit up and you said that that Maryland, they want to look at all the top talent, and like you see a lot of those guys in Maryland, the James Ellsworths, the Luke Gallows, the Athena's coming back from WWE, and they're like, oh goodness, an ex WWE dude or a dude from WWE is coming back to Maryland to perform. Even Adam Cole when he
yeah,
pops up in MCW, and and that's what I like about what you're doing is that you're trying to groom homegrown talent and bring them up and bring them in to create the next big thing for you guys, and that's amazing.
yeah. We only usually book one or two WWE stars a year, for our big shows. And so that's what we focus on. And like I said, it's working. The proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? We went from drawing. So when we first started 1CW, man, we were only drawing like 150 people. And of course, it's seasonal too. Like this show in June, we don't know how much we're going to draw yet, but we've been drawing anywhere from 350 to 450 people. And so that's really good for an independent company. To get them in the door every single week. Now, like I said, this show we don't know because it's June. We're in a beach like area, so hey, we don't really know. We're hoping for some rain on Saturday, and hopefully, it works out. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. It is what it is. We bite the bullet. We bite the bullet. But we feel we have a strong bind with the community, so we're not really scared, I guess I should say.
Yeah. So the psychology, and I've always been the type of fan that loves heels.
Mhm.
I'm a heel guy. I'm a massive heel dude. If I see a heel, I'll try and grasp onto the concept that they're carrying. What is the difference between a heel, like a good heel, and then a heel that needs work?
Okay, so here's my biggest thing, right? Um, you can play whatever you want in professional wrestling, but the heel should always take away. The baby face is there to share emotions and share memories and share moments, right? You connect with the baby face by getting latched onto that baby face, by feeling his struggle with you, right? And the heel should always have the exact opposite. You should hate him because he takes those moments from you. Vince McMahon was a great heel because we all knew a boss that was an asshole that no one liked. Stone Cold was a great babyface because we all were the hard worker who got fucked over every single fucking week, and we were like, "Fuck that guy, beat his ass," right? Um, One of my greatest analogies is, what did Stone Cold change when he went from babyface to heel?
He pretty much he took away the concept that we're all viable.
Yeah, but his biggest thing he changed was he went from holding his middle fingers like this to holding them like this.
Mm,
This is fuck all them back there. I'm with you. I'm
yeah.
with you guys. Fuck these guys. Then he went, fuck you guys. I'm with them. And that was the moment people could pick up on. Again, like you said, viably changing the way he stood. And I think that's a big thing. And like you see a lot of cool heels, like the Young Bucks are like one of them guys who they want to be the cool heel and they want to be the, oh, I can do this and I can do that. And I really want to be cheered, but you're supposed to boo me. No, 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 no. I yell at guys all the time. If I'm a heel and there's a guy cheering me out in the crowd, I don't pander to him, because if I pander to him, other people will pick up on that and then pander to me. But
Mhm.
if you tell them shut the hell up and you don't pay attention to those guys cheering you, that will slowly die out because now you're an asshole for not even acknowledging your people.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys don't get that. They want to be these cool heels who get cheered, and I want to go high five the guy that's cheering me because they like me even though I'm an asshole. No, some people just like cheering for the bad guy. And there's nothing wrong if you're that fan, but there's something wrong if you're that wrestler that then buys into it.
Yeah. Speaking of heels, who do you think is the best heel in the game right now?
Oh, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns. He has everybody pissed off. You can go on any social media, and if you just search WWE, you got people saying, "Oh, I don't know who's going to beat Roman because there's nobody good enough to beat Roman." When you have a heel that can do that, that can literally make you look at your roster and go, "No one's good enough," he is your best heel because his whole objective is to build someone that can come and take it off of him. And in that, he needs to dismantle everyone else so only one guy sticks out. And right now, the only guy that sticks out to me is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes coming off that great match at Hell in a Cell. He's injured. But when he comes back from that injury, it is going to be the pop of a lifetime. And I mean that. And Cody Rhodes is the one they are grooming for that position. Roman is going to have a long, boring run through the summer, which most champions do with WWE. They don't usually change titles in the summer because it's not necessary. And also, they're not getting a lot of views because people are saving money. Ratings go down, and that's for all TV, not just wrestling. That's all TV in the summer. And so your summer, you don't really change anything. You kind of just stay the course and you build. You start building your baby faces. This is what I call Jungle Boy time, because every year around this time, Jungle Boy gets a massive singles push, only to have it kill it off when fall comes. You can go back and check the statistics on that. But yeah, this is summer, and it's just TV in general. Like CM Punk winning the title was perfect time, but then he got injured, and that's not what they wanted in AEW. Because now they can't build Punk's title run through the summer when not a lot of people are watching. Now they have to figure out what they're going to do. And so stuff like that, just simple stuff like that, really messes with booking and stuff. But it's fun to watch how they recover.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. Roman is one of the best heels, if not the best heel in the industry right now.
He's so good. He's so good. So when Roman first became in the business, he spoke shit he didn't need to speak, right? Now he speaks what he needs to speak. And that's a lot of guys, when they cut promos, they want to talk and they want to yell at the crowd. They want to do this and they want to do that. But you don't need to do all that. You just need to speak what you need to say.
Yeah. I really enjoy his run. A lot of people are pissed off about it, but I look at it, I'm like, this is what Roman should have been after the Shield. Hands down.
It's a perfect position for him. It's perfect build for him. It solidifies him as what he needs to be, and that is their top guy and their top heel at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And going into this, I have a speculation of what could happen. I've seen a bunch of people speculating on what could happen. Seth Rollins could do the heist of the century again at SummerSlam. I don't feel that's going to happen. What I think is going to happen, and let me know what you feel about this, is Cody comes back. Seth holds the title or holds Money in the Bank, because I feel he's going to win it. He holds it until Cody wins, and then he cashes in on Cody and steals the title for the ultimate heel move.
I'm not going to say you're wrong, because I don't know what WWE is going to do, because their writing staff is sometimes atrocious.
Yeah.
But I would think that whoever wins this Money in the Bank is going to be a guy that doesn't actually retain or doesn't win the title. I think they will try to cash it in on Roman, and Roman will retain the title. I think this is set up for Cody to take it off at WrestleMania. I personally believe that. WWE's big at breaking streaks right now. Mm-hmm. And so I think that they will break Brock's streak with Roman's streak, because Roman's about to start doing movies. Mm-hmm. And so I foresee them trying to capitalize on that to their benefit by saying, oh, this is our guy, or this is this, or this is that. The longest reigning world champion is this. So I feel that that's what will happen, personally. But hey, you never know. Cody can come back at Royal Rumble. I think that's what they're saying his timeline is, coming back at Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. He can have a John Cena-like comeback at the Royal Rumble to then go into WrestleMania. But I don't think you're too far off with Seth. I think Seth could be that winner, but I truly believe that whoever wins the Money in the Bank's only to solidify Roman as a top guy even more.
Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility. MJ.
it's been a
Go ahead.
long time since it's I'm sorry. It's been
No, go ahead.
such a long time since WWE has had that baby face that overcomes, that nobody sees overcoming, right?
Yeah.
Roman was the guy that we could see overcoming Brock. You know, anybody who's ever beat Brock has been the guy you could see overcoming. Seth Rollins, he was such a natural heel that you could see him cheating Brock at a WrestleMania to win the title. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You could see that happening. I want to say this is a first time in a long time they're trying to build someone where you don't see it happening, but you're going to see it happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. MJF. What are your thoughts on MJF?
So I've had the great pleasure of sharing a locker room with him, and he is the biggest piece of shit. Um, and I mean that in the best possible way for him, but he always says that. So I'm not going to sit here and say he's a great guy because he's not. He's a piece of shit. Um, uh, he is the best heel in AEW, and I think his only issue right now is Tony Khan. And I don't mean that in this work shoot angle. I don't care if it's a work or a shoot. I really don't. A lot of people want to get into the graphics of it's a work, it's a shoot. I don't care. It's stupid. It's stupid either way. Why are we worried about what a contracted wrestler is doing? We shouldn't be worried about that. We should be worried about the feud that's in the ring, or take him off the screen. This shoot style. Oh, we need to let the people in on the backstage bullshit. So stupid, and I hate it.
Yeah, I think that last promo that he did was amazing. Like I'll throw it out there. I think it was amazing. I don't give a shit if it was a work or if it was a shoot.
Right.
Like, to be honest, I was like, holy fuck. Whatever happens from this point forward with MJF is going to be like monumental, and I think it's going to be like the caliber of like Punk coming back, to be honest.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong when I say that. Like, I don't mean like, oh, the whole thing's shit because of that. I'm saying that this shouldn't be out, and I get what they're trying to do, but MJF's so good, he doesn't need that as his stick to get out and get over.
No, it
If
doesn't.
this is their weird way of trying to turn him to be a babyface, it shouldn't happen. Because Tony Khan's not likable. Who likes a fucking billionaire fucking silver spoon fucking prick? No one.
Yeah.
So why would we make Tony Khan the babyface in this? It makes zero sense, and that's what I always try to say to people is make it make sense. And this is one of the things that just doesn't make sense to me. And I think a lot of the people are following that. It's just a weird spot.
Yeah, my wife watches wrestling and stuff like that, and she's like, I don't see how you could like MJF. And I was like, because he's the person that's just this dastardly son of a bitch. He's like, you want to hate him so bad. Like, I know for me, like when I first started watching him, like I had the pleasure of watching him. He came up here with WrestlePro. And I was like, dude, I fucking hate him so much. Like, that's the first time that I ever seen him. And he was in a triple threat, and then he got fucked up by McFoley. But like, I was like, I hate that son of a bitch so much. And then I started watching him, and then he came into AEW and he started doing his work in AEW. And I found myself being like, he's a real piece of shit. Like, I don't fucking, there's not much more I can say about it, but I like it because of the work he's doing.
And that's good that people can be that. Like, a lot of people. So I think that there is a fine line to walk between being a really good heel and being a shit human. And I think he's found that line, and he's trying to walk it. But there for a while, I feel like he lost that line to where it didn't matter if he was heel or not. Just people didn't care for him. His mic skills are amazing, and that's what will always save him. Is he's so good on the mic. He's very good with his enunciation. He's very good with his delivery. Like, that's a lot of shit that takes years to master, and he's mastered it. And that's why he's so good on the mic, and he's such a good heel at this point.
Mm-hmm. And then just his fan interactions are just solidify even more like how much of a piece of shit he acts.
Yeah, and I like that he actually keeps kayfabe alive, but sometimes I think maybe sometimes he crosses lines he doesn't think he crosses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and there's one or two lines that he crossed that I was like super uncomfortable with, and one of them had when he was addressing Brian Pillman's mom and called her Methany. I was like,
yeah,
that should never have been said. And then there was another time, I can't remember, he was talking about somebody's parent that killed himself or something like that. And I was like, dude, that's too much. Like, that's too much. I understand you're a heel, but there's that line that you cross that it shouldn't be crossed.
So here's the thing for me, right? And this is where, I mean, he crosses lines, but he doesn't really. So when he says that about Brian Pillman's mom, Brian Pillman doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't jump. He doesn't fight him. Wardlow stops him. So that takes the realism out of wrestling, because if somebody just called my mom a meth head, I'm punching them right in their fucking mouth. I'm jumping whoever fucking big guy. I'm fighting the big guy. I don't give a fuck. You just talked to about my mom, and I'm standing 5 foot from you. I'm not going to walk up like I'm a tough guy and you're going to be able to push me back, and that's going to calm things down. And I think that's where his promos get lost on everything is, hey, we're supposed to have realism in this, and we don't. And that's kind of the thing that irritates me the most about AEW.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, if Wardlow jumped in the middle and Brian Pillman tried to fight him and then he just stopped, like, come on. Like, there's got to be some realism here.
And that's my biggest thing with AEW in general. WWE the same way, but just wrestling in general, I feel like we get away from the realism.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what was the moment that made you fall in love with wrestling? Like the moment where you're like, I'm sold.
So, my brother was into wrestling before me. And so my brother would, we would dress up like Hulk and Animal, and we would come out as the Road Warriors and we'd wrestle stuffed animals and pillows on our trampoline. And the moment that I truly, truly, truly fell in love with wrestling was, I was watching WrestleMania with him, and I didn't know any of the guys. Like, I can go back and I can watch matches and be like, oh, I remember that, but I don't remember, certain people and certain things. But I remember watching Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, and he was bleeding and he's pushing up and he's trying to fight, and then he passes out. And I was like, people try to tell you it's fake. And I was like, that guy was bleeding and just passed out. That shit's not fake. And that to me is what hooked me, that we can suspend this disbelief and we can make it to where it is real. Like, for years I said it was real. Like, even people would be like, that's fake, right? And I'd be like, really? Because I wouldn't want to genuinely put myself through a table. Like, would you? And I would question everything. And it used to be a total, and I hate going like it's a total different world. And I'm not trying to shit on how we do things now, but a lot of stuff was more real. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we've gotten a little bit away from that. And I get that, but I just want to see more realism. That's all I ever asked for.
Yeah. And that is a nice match drop, dude. Like Bret and Austin at WrestleMania.
Oh my God. I've watched it multiple times, but that was probably the first moment where I realized I love this and I would like to be involved in this.
Yeah. So for me, I kind of grew up. My first memory in life is Andre and Hogan at WrestleMania, and as a kid, I loved it. But then I got to a point where it was taken away from me, and I lost probably 6 years of wrestling. I didn't really watch the beginning of the Attitude Era because I was in trouble. I couldn't watch it. But when I came back to it, my first pay-per-view with my dad watching was Starrcade 97. And that sold me, and I can even, and as bad as the finishes to Hogan and Sting, the botched ending and the run-ins from the NWO and just like everything that happened in that is still one of my favorite. My favorite match of all time is Eddie and Dean Malenko at Starrcade, just because it's
a good match.
Yeah, absolutely good match.
Good match.
And I can whenever I start, like I would do like TikTok streams of pay-per-views, and then I would stop. I'd always go back to Starrcade 97, say this is the one we're starting with, because that's where my roots come from, and I absolutely love it. And then I would get to these points where I'm like, oh, I'm bored with wrestling, and then Rock and Austin, all of them. The storytelling between those two, phenomenal. Rock and Austin at WrestleMania, all three of those matches, beautiful. And then I would have to say the most recent would probably, that made me fall back in love with wrestling. That's hard because like there's not really that many great matches anymore.
There's really not, and that's one thing. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but wrestling's weird. What we find maybe is attractive to us isn't attractive to everyone. And so that's why you just got to find your niche and kind of roll with it. And
Yeah.
that's okay because wrestling's an art and everybody loves a different type of art.
Yeah. I find that the style I used to enjoy isn't the style I enjoy anymore. Like I used to love dudes that did like the high flying shit. Like I loved Rey
Mm-hmm.
Mysterio, not taking anything away from those guys because I'm not in the business. But now I really enjoy the style of like strong style and hard. Like I love Walter. I don't care if they changed his name to Gunther or whatever. I love Walter because
Yeah.
that man, he's a big dude and he's moving like he's a fucking cruiserweight.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so weird the differences in styles and how they can all work together. So we're in a really cool spot. Like wrestling's not the same it used to be, but that's not a bad thing. And
Yeah.
that's the cool part is, just because I work one style and this person works a different style doesn't mean we can't kill it and have a great match because we can. And that's such a cool part right now is the different styles and how they work together and how we're seeing them more work together more and more all the time.
Hmm. All right. Last question. Who do you think right now is the best professional wrestler of the year and of all time?
Oh, of the year is so hard. Um, man, if I had to go year, so I would take it from this day and go a year back.
Hmm.
I would go Adam Page. Adam Page has been on a roll. He has had great title defenses. He had a great title match. He did great with CM Punk. Um, his story, how he got there, was good. So if I had to go wrestler of the year from this day back 1 year, I'd say Adam Page, and I'm a big Adam Page fan, so it might be biased. And you said all time,
Hmm.
so up until recently, I've always said Shawn Michaels. But now I got to go AJ Styles. AJ Styles has held a world title in every company he's ever been in. He puts on best match of the year in almost every company he's been in every year. He can take green guys and make them really good. He can take vets, make them really good. He can take different styles, make them all look really good. He works to just about anyone. He can protect anyone from anything. He is the best professional wrestler to ever live. I will argue with him until you're blue in the face. He was amazing in TNA. He made TNA. You can sit here and tell me that Kurt Angle made TNA, that Christian Cage made TNA. No, AJ Styles built TNA. Then when he left TNA, he went to New Japan Pro Wrestling. The Bullet Club was never bigger than when AJ Styles hit it. Um, he won the heavyweight title in New Japan. Put on amazing matches with Okada. You can say Kenny Omega had 6-star matches. I don't give a fuck about Dave Meltzer. AJ Styles is the greatest professional wrestler in the history of professional wrestling, and that's plain and simple. I will never be able to fight that.
I will have to agree with you on that. And I was going to say Kenny Omega for me is my favorite of all time. And I know that a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, 6-star." I don't even care about 6-star matches or any of that shit. I think that that when he is at full capacity, 100% healthy, that man can throw some fucking bangers out there. His
Yeah,
matches with Okada, amazing.
and look, I'll say this: Jim Cornette is a big hater of Kenny Omega, and that's because of some of the things Kenny does. And I get where Jim Cornette comes from because, like I said, I love realism, but at the same time, Kenny is doing what is best for his character and what is best for the crowd that he's in front of, right? And so sometimes you got to work to the crowd that you're in front of. We wrestle at this one place that's in Chincoteague, Virginia, and when we wrestle down there, it's like 1980, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could give a goddamn less about your flips and your moves and your shit like that. But when I go out there and I tell a kid to shut the hell up and sit down and he's 7, the fucking crowd starts throwing trash at me. All right. Like,
Yeah.
it's a different world. And that's what I mean. Kenny Omega works the crowd that he is in front of, and he is good working the super indie crowd. And that's why I always say, like, you can't sit here and say, oh, this person's better than this person right now, because they work different crowds. WWE's crowds are different than AEW's crowds. AEW's crowds are more super indie. And the people that go from AEW and come to indie shows in Baltimore and stuff like that, you can work a super indie match and they love it. you go to Chincoteague, Virginia, they don't know what the hell a super indie is. All they know is you're a goddamn wrestler, and they want you to yell.
Oh no, we lost Shawn. Oh no. Oh. Yeah, so we lost Shawn, guys. I'm gonna try and figure out what happened. But yeah, so um Shawn's a good dude. I love talking with Shawn and hanging out with Shawn, and if he doesn't respond in like a minute or so, then we're gonna go ahead and end it. But yeah, his phone might have died. But anyways, yeah, Shawn's super knowledgeable about professional wrestling and about everything professional wrestling, and just super good dude. And I'm glad that he was a part of this. But yeah, it looks like we lost him. So I just want to thank everybody for watching. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us for about an hour. You guys are appreciated and you guys are extraordinary. Thank you.